Si no usamos los micros, ¿pueden escucharnos o es mejor con micro? Con micro. Entonces tenemos que compartir estas cosas y vamos a estar paseándolos entre nosotros. Correcto. Okay. Pues bienvenidos. Yo soy Alex Cox y yo soy el director de una película que vamos a estar filmando aquí en la semana que entra, que se llama Mexicanos Muertos. Es basado en una historia de Gogo, Almas Muertos. Y pues aquí estamos. Entonces, todo el reparto no está aquí porque algunos están trabajando más tarde en los Estados Unidos. Entonces, estamos actuando varios roles cada uno. Y, ¿cómo van a ver? Entonces, y vamos a estar actuando en inglés, disculpe. Es porque mis amigos y yo también no hablamos perfectamente cristiano. Entonces, por eso estamos haciendo la cosa en inglés. Pero ojalá que no será un problema para ustedes. Y si hay otra cosa, si tienen que salir para ir a otro asunto, lo entiendo. Y no hay una obligación de estar aquí hasta el último final. And in English, in case anybody here speaks English, we're doing a reading of the script of Dead Mexicans. This script, we don't have all the actors here because part of the film is being shot in the United States, in Arizona, and some of the actors are still over there. So, I hope you enjoy it. And obviously if you get bored or if you have to go do something else, you're very welcome to depart. We won't be upset. So, thank you very much everybody for coming. Gracias por estar aquí. Yo también voy a leer las descripciones de las escenas, pero voy a hacerlo lo más rápido posible para no dejar demasiado tiempo. Gracias. Great, thank you. The desert day, and out of the desert comes Strindler. He's on foot. He wears a dark suit and hat and carries a briefcase and a carpet bag. He comes to the outskirts of town. A Mexican watches him. In the graveyard, a church bell tolls. Strindler stands in a little cemetery. He ignores the handful of stone markers and studies the wooden crosses. He takes out a black notebook and starts to write. Exterior, elite hotel. Strindler walks up the steps of the rough-boarded hotel. A bleary-eyed drunk, borracho, is sitting outside. Strindler nods to him. The sound of a tuneless piano is heard. Strindler enters. In the elite hotel, the downstairs room runs the length of the building. Behind the counter, several keys hang on the wall. Strindler sets down his briefcase and carpet bag. Crocker, his lips stained with tobacco, rises from the piano.
What can I do you for? Grub you're after? Well, you're out of luck. There ain't no food here. That's across the street at the old Owl Club. It's 3 meals a day for 50 cents. You looking for a room?
Crocker walks over to the counter. Behind it hang the keys.
That'll be $2 in advance. Or to stay the week, it's $12 in advance because Sundays is free.
Strindler reaches into his pocket and slides a gold coin across the counter. Crocker tosses the coin in the air, listens to it ring as it hits the desk. The sound satisfies him.
I'll put you down for a week then.
He puts the coin in the drawer.
You make your mark in that there book.
Strindler writes in the book.
What's that say here?
Strindler. My name is Strindler.
I'll show you to the room.
The room is miserable. There's a bed, a small table with a water jug and a chair. Strindler looks out of the window and sees nothing that interests him. He sits down on the bed, produces his notebook and studies what he's written. He puts the book away. Que seas tú, Nuri? Do you want to be Nuria as well? Okay. Yeah. Strindler goes across the street to the Owl Club. He's sitting in the back of the table, reading a newspaper. The waitress, Nuria, approaches.
More cabbage soup?
Shakes his head.
Grains with peas, especially calidad de la casa.
Got a question.
Ask away.
Who's the big cheese here?
You want some cheese?
No, I asked who the big cheese is. The hair thing.
Also, Chandler.
Who's also?
He runs the mine.
Chandler?
He owns the big ranch outside of town.
Comes here much?
Also does. Most days he plays cards with the sheriff and the mayor. Do you still want that cheese? How about some more grains?
I have enough for now. Later that afternoon, the place is livelier. Strindler sits at the same table with a bottle of whiskey and a glass, and a couple of customers are there. Upstairs, 4 men, important men, play cards around the table. The piano plays. Strindler climbs the stairs, approaches the table. Join you? The 3 players regard him. They are the mayor, the sheriff, and Oso. Oso and the mayor wear suits. The sheriff has a leather vest and star.
This is draw poker. 3-card draw if you don't want to show. Or if you've got an ace. But if you got the ace, you have to share it with the players.
Sure.
Got that right. We don't like any snakes in the weeds at this table.
I'm of the same mind, sir. He sits, tosses the gold coin on the table. The bar is too noisy for them to hear the sound it makes. The sheriff picks it up and bites it. His teeth are all made of gold. They played a hand. The mayor wins.
Beginner's luck.
Breeding cattle dogs. They say they mix them with English collies and Australian dingoes.
Well, it should make a good breed.
The open pit versus the old-fashioned style of mining.
Yeah, sounds far superior.
You played this game before, mister?
Not lately.
Your deal.
Wow. Strindler loses. His chips are gone. He rises. Gentlemen?
Nice playing with you, mister. I didn't catch your handle.
My name is Strindler.
I'm Avery Senator, mayor of the city. This here is Sheriff Party and Mr. Russell.
Strindler shakes hands with each of them.
What line of work are you in, Strindler?
Oh, government work.
Is that right? Staying long?
About a week.
Well, that's just dandy. Why don't you stop by my office on tomorrow, Mr. Strindler? Our city's wide open to government work, contracts of any kind.
Well, sure thing, Mr. Mayor. Strindler exits. That night he sits on his narrow bed. He opens his little book and studies the list of names he wrote in the cemetery. He counts the names. Beside the jug, on the table, Strindler has pasted a portrait of a stern-looking man, his father, and an abacus. Next day, Strindler exits the hotel carrying his briefcase. He pauses and queries the drunk who is a permanent fixture. Borracho points up the street. He crosses the road. Outside, an undertaker is planing rough planks to make a coffin. He grins at Strindler. Strindler averts his gaze. In the pool hall, Strindler speaks to the first person he encounters. You be the player. City Hall. The mayor?
That away.
Yeah. In the mayor's office contains a desk and a bathtub. The mayor welcomes Strindler to sit on the far side of the desk.
A pleasure. A real pleasure, Mr.
Strindler.
Strindler, of course. Quite right. Enjoyed our game last night? How about a sharpener?
He produces a bottle and 2 glasses. They drink.
So, how did you find our sheriff? He's an educated man, you know. Were you to visit his house, the quantity of books he has would strike you. Unusual for a peace officer.
That speaks well of him. They touch glasses and drink.
I ask because you mentioned you're a government man. There was that little business here a couple of months ago. That's not what brought you here, I hope.
No?
Excellent, excellent. The sheriff was entirely justified. It was only Mexicans, but things get blown out of proportion. And the Zamora brothers are well known as troublemakers to progress.
They touch glasses again.
Is it the railroad then?
Railroad?
That's what I guessed you were about. It bypasses us, you see? But not by far. If we could persuade the company to reroute the line or to create a spur...
You mentioned Mexicans. Are there many?
Mexicans? Why, yes. See, we're so close to the border. And short-handed. Terrible short-handed. As far as workers go, white men are few and far between.
You hire many.
Personally, no. I've none in my employ. White men are few, as I observe, but you can bet I go out of my way to hire them. For all city work. Oh, yes, indeed.
Well, so who hires these Mexicans?
The mine, mostly, and Charles Ranch. Now pertaining to the railroad.
Exterior street, Strindler returns the way he came. He is a little drunk and he's still mourning. Avoiding the undertaker's gaze, he pauses as the wagon passes. When the dust clears, he sees the sheriff watching. In the sheriff's office, Strindler studies the contents of the sheriff's bookcase. The sheriff sits behind him, feet on his desk, cleaning a gun. I see you have The Whale by Mr. Melville, a splendid and prophetic book.
Beside it is a copy of With Walker in Nicaragua by Francois. The signed first edition, published the same year.
Strindler removes the book, leaves through it. To think this happened only 40 years ago.
Gad, I wish I'd gone with them.
They all died, of course.
A man who fears death is not alive. Let's cut to the quick, Strindler. You came about that Mexican business?
What Mexican business?
Involving the Zamora brothers. I heard one of their sisters went up Tucson way, saying she'd get a federal prosecutor.
No. Don't Mexicans interest me?
How so?
Sheriff, I do government work. Have you a list of Mexicans who died? Those who were shot or hung?
No, I do not. There was that Zamora brother. He's dead, but I don't keep count.
Who might?
Our doctor tends to them. He might keep a list.
I'd like to meet your doctor.
The corral. They'll rent you a horse.
At the livery stable, Crocker, who also handles the stable, leads a horse up to Strindler. Strindler attempts to mount it from the right.
Out from the left, hard. They get a tad skittish otherwise.
From the left, the left. He tries to climb up on the right side as before, ends up sitting backwards. The horse protests. Strindler holds tight to the reins.
You have done this before, right?
Not lately.
I got another possibility.
Canyon Road. Strindler and Borracho ride out of town in a wagon. Borracho holds the reins. The briefcase is in the back.
So where do you want to go?
The doctor's. Is it far?
Not far, not near, neither. Someone here tells you they live 15 miles away. It's more like 30 miles.
What's the doctor's name?
Got no idea. We call them Doc.
And your name, sir?
Headley Prestner Philman III. The folks down here call me Borracho.
Borracho.
That's right. Mexican for intelligent.
Canyon Road, from far away, the wagon crosses the magnificent landscape, and now we're at the doctor's house. The doctor's wife, Rebecca, tends a dismal flower garden. The wagon approaches. Inside Dr. Stanton's house, Rebecca prepares beverages. Strindler and the doctor are seated at the table.
My patients die of many things. Old age, exhaustion, wounds, epidemics, deadly fevers, smallpox, tuberculosis, syphilis. Why do you ask?
Oh, curiosity,
How did our mayor strike you, Mr. Strindler?
Oh, worthy man, ma'am.
Please call me Rebecca. And our sheriff?
Intelligent, well-read.
I wish we had more books in our house, but my husband does not approve of them. Did you meet his wife?
No, I did not, but I expect she's worthy and intelligent also.
Care for a temperance drink?
She pours 3 glasses of foaming liquid.
It was developed by a Georgia pharmacist, a mixture of the coca leaf from Peru and the cola nut from West Africa. Sparks the energy. Much better than tea.
Well, the children thrive on it.
2 horrid brats run through the room, hitting each other and grabbing food from the table. Oh, precious children.
Themistocles is 8 and Alcides is 6.
Themistocles, what is the capital of France?
Paris!
And Germany?
Paris! Clever. The child will go far.
Oh, yes, he has an extremely sharp mind. Small bugs, insects, everything fascinates him.
Outside screams are heard.
Excuse me.
She follows the boys outside. No, thank you. I don't smoke.
Why not?
I never was inclined. He produces a large, flat metal snuff box and opens it.
Well, you should. Smoke lessens fatigue and clears the lungs. Much healthier than snuff.
Stringer closes the snuff box and puts it back in his pocket. Dr. Stanton lights up. About these Mexicans.
They live in appalling conditions, entirely without morals, prone to every disease. That's why so many of them die.
Doctor, I represent a funeral company. We sell coffins and headstones to the Hispanic market.
The growth industry.
Exactly. If you provide me with a list of these deceased Mexicans, names, ages, etc., I'd be much obliged.
But they are no use to you. They're dead. You need the least relief one.
No, my colleague will deal with that.
I'd have to ask around.
Give you 2 bits apiece.
$1.
50 cents.
Done. When do you need the list?
Outside the house, Borracho sits aboard the wagon drinking from a flask. The boys fight with wooden swords. Rebecca struggles to separate them. Strindler and the doctor emerge. Next time, I'll bring you boys a pistol and a drum. Good boys. The boys cheer. Canyon Road, Borracho drives them back the way they came. Strindler makes more notes in his black book. Ahead, a corpse is hanging in a tree. Mexican?
Looks like a Chinaman to me.
Strindler nods and puts away his book.
You might be interested in the widow. She hires Mexicans.
A widow?
What I just said, just down the road.
Gothic mansion afternoon. Borracho sits alone on the wagon drinking. A light illuminates the building. In the sitting room, the widow, dressed all in black, lights the lamp and sets it down.
And your name is what? I guess you must be a tax collector.
No, my name is Ma'am, and I am no tax collector, traveling for business.
Ah, so you're a buyer. Sorry to say I've sold the last of the honey. I may have some hemp left, just a few pounds.
No, I'm interested in different commodities. Have your Mexicans been dying on you?
I can't barely keep them alive. 18 died on me just this year. Good workers, too. Last week, my blacksmith went and burned up.
Fire?
I didn't say we had no fire. God spared us that misfortune. Gonzalez burned himself up on his own. Too much to drink. A blue flame came up out of him, and he turned to charcoal. Best farrier I ever had. Are you sure you don't need no him?
No, thank you, no. You know the names of those that died?
Of course I do. Why?
I'll take them off your hands.
How could you do that? They're dead.
If you'll tell me the names of those 18, their ages, birthplaces, I'll give you money for them.
Do you intend to dig them up?
No, it's just their names that I need.
What for?
That's my business.
But they're dead.
I'll give you $10 for the lot.
Done a deal.
The sheriff ambles along the boardwalk at night, picking his gold teeth. He pauses and studies the upper windows of the elite hotel. The shadow of Strindler is seen bent over his notebook. Next morning, Strindler is Borracho's passenger again.
So we going to Oso's mine?
What makes you think that?
Well, we've been just about everywhere else. I reckon that was next.
The mine works are a hideous, multicolored canyon of destruction. Borracho waits. In the mine office, Strindler sits opposite Oso. Behind Strindler is a window which overlooks the works. Behind Oso are boxes of dynamite.
But what for?
I have a contract with the Mexican government. I am tasked to make a list of all their nationals who pass away. The government will share this information with their families who are concerned.
Bullshit. Mexican government don't give a damn about these people, neither do you.
I'll pay you 50 cents a head.
$10.
Well, you can't be serious, sir.
Why not? I have something you want. You're not being upfront about why you want it. Could be a criminal for all I know. What if you wanted them grave robbers?
No, I'm no body snatcher. All I need is their names.
That's all you'll get. Most of my Mexicans die with mines caved in. Still buried a mile underground. Good luck hauling them out. What do you think of our man?
Well, he seems like a worthy man.
Man's a bandit. How about the sheriff?
Appears educated and honest.
He's 10 times worse. Stick around and you'll find out. Only honest person in these parts is the federal prosecutor in Tucson. He's a fucking swine.
Oso takes a stick of dynamite from an open box and tosses it from hand to hand.
Met Chandler yet? A rancher?
Well, not yet, but...
He's the biggest miser you could ever wish to meet. Richest man in the territory. Eats worse than his pay.
Hires Mexicans?
Hundreds.
Convicts in Purdy's jail live better than they do. He starves them, they die like flies.
Is his ranch far?
10 miles down the road.
He tosses Strindler a dynamite stick. Strindler jumps and nearly drops it. Also laughs.
$5 a head. That's my final offer.
Oh, be serious. These are dead men's names.
Damn good men, too. Dead men, too. Experienced miners. Villarreal was a top-notch pit boss. Sandoval ran the mine at Canayan. Puente was the best catman I ever saw.
I'll give you 75 cents.
$1 apiece.
Agreed. A list?
Already done it. Heard what you was up to and tallied it last night. 55 names.
Strindler produces gold coins, places them on the stove. Also puts the money in his purse.
I'll get loose.
He rises, exits. Strindler pockets the stick of dynamite. He pauses, helps himself to 2 more sticks, and puts them in his case. Canyon Road. Borracho drives the wagon. Strindler studies Oso's list.
Good trade.
Oh, Mr. Oso drives a hard bargain. How far to Chandler's ranch?
10 miles, I reckon.
Slow down, there's a wagon.
I knows my business. Hell, look at them. They're in the ditch.
Borracho halts the wagon, steps down out of frame.
What were you galloping at such a clip for? Are you drunk or what?
In the canyon, a buggy has run off the road. The driver is the kid. The passenger, Rose Chandler. Borracho heads for the back of the buggy, where a couple of men are giving it a push. Yes.
Quick as you can. Can't you see we're in a hurry?
Hey, ho, Strindler. The kid steps down. The kid steps down to better encourage the pushing men. Rose takes the reins. She is a very serious young woman. Strindler gets down, circumvents the struggling man, approaches Rose. Good afternoon, man. I shame about the inconvenience.
Matters not a whit.
Hey, you, give us a hand here.
Strindler ignores him, opens his snuff box, and hails a pinch. He smiles winningly at Rose. My name is Strindler. And yours? The kid pushes past Strindler and boards the buggy.
I'll give him a touch of the whip.
The wagon jumps abruptly and then back onto the road.
Got him moving, boss.
Rose retains the reins. The kid brushes the dust off his fancy clothes.
Why were you so rude to that man? He wasn't to blame.
The kid snarls, does not reply. Strindler watches the buggy hurtle away. He closes his snuff box, joins Borracho on the seat.
They calls that one the kid. Rides for Chandler's brand. Steer clear of him.
Why?
He was on Purdy's posse, killed Segundo Zamora, shot him right between the eyes.
And the young lady?
Oh, Rose is her name. Chandler's daughter.
Strindler nods thoughtfully. They press on. Down the canyon in the Badlands, there is shade. 2 vaqueros have dismounted beside a creek.
That there's Valdez, foreman of the ranch.
You pull home the reins.
Yo, Valdez, Mr. Chandler home?
No, mi borracho. Se fue al pueblo para tener una chatacua.
He says Chandler ain't at the ranch. He's going to town. Gonna be a Chautauqua, I reckon. Gracias, tontos.
What's a Chautauqua?
You'll find out.
Borracho turns the wagon around and heads back the way they came. He studies the darkening sky and quotes.
The west yet glimmers with some streaks of day, now spurs the lated travelers apace to gain the timely end.
Is that Hamlet?
That be Macbeth, sir.
Well, so it is. Lead on, Duff. At the elite hotel, the sound of music and scattered applause in the afternoon. In the hotel, Strindler sits in his underwear. In his room, he pours water from the jug onto his trousers. He rubs the water into the fabric to make it look less shabby. In the hotel, the good people of the town, the mayor and Chandler and Rose, are seated at tables. The widow and the kid take a table to themselves. Chandler, the rancher, has a big hat and a Pendleton coat. He is every inch the wealthy rancher, with a moustache to match his hat. Before them stands the sheriff, reading from a poetry book.
And when at night our good day done, I guard my master's head, 'tis better than the eider duck's deep pillow to have shared. To foe of his, I'm deadly foe, none stir the second time, on whom I lay a yellow eye or an empathic thumb. Though I than he may longer live, he longer must than I, for I have but the power to kill without the power to die.
A beautiful reading by Sheriff Purdy, who's standing for re-election, as I'm sure you know. What was the name of that poem, Sheriff?
My life had stood a loaded gun by the late Miss Emily Dickinson.
The sheriff sits and Rose stands. Strindler descends the stairs. He too has made an effort to dress up. He wears his damp black suit and a red cravat.
Next on our agenda, auditory and intellectual delight, Miss Rose Chandler, who will be entertaining us with a hymn. What is the hymn called, Miss Rose?
Mr. Mayor, the name of the hymn is Gladly, Thy Little Cross I Bear.
Strindler, pull up a chair. Strindler does so, but does not sit. You know our sheriff this year is Colonel Chandler, and that's his daughter Rose.
I am Strindler, sir.
That's him. He's been going around buying up dead Mexicans. I sold him 18 for $10, but I hear he's paying a lot more.
What's he want dead Mexicans for?
Who cares? All I know is he shorted me, and he's a millionaire.
Son of a bitch.
Sensitive and exquisitely interpreted, mademoiselle. Escorts her to the colonel's table. And now Mr. Crocker will enthrall us with his popular rendition of
Called Night on a Bear Mountain by Mussorgsky.
Applause for Mr. Crocker.
Diogenes. Now that was a philosopher, right, Strindler?
Well, if it ain't the millionaire, I hear you're buying Mexicans.
In daylight hours, Diogenes walked the streets with a lamp, Miss Rose, in search of an honest man.
What did he want the lamp for if it was daylight?
Hey, Pops, I'm talking to you. What you gonna do with all them dead corpses you've been buying up?
Well, excuse me, I'll be with you shortly.
Who you calling Shorty? If you're buying dead Mexicans, I can sure sell you a few.
He leans in close. Breathe out.
Now that's enough there, kid.
No, it ain't. Come on, Pappy. Give me a kiss.
He attempts to kiss Strindler. Strindler, rising, pushes him away. Slow motion, angle on the kid's big Texas spurs catching in a gap between the wooden boards. The kid falls on his ass. Silence descends upon the room. The piano ceases. The kid, drunk and humiliated, scrambles to free his boots. He rages at Strindler, reaching for his pistols.
Fill your hands, you son of a bitch.
Fast motion, chairs and tables overturn. Everybody dives for cover. I beg your pardon?
I said make your play.
The kid stumbles to his feet, glaring at Strindler. So sorry, but...
He wants to shoot it out with you.
But I am unarmed.
Well, heal yourself, you damn coward. I'll see you on the street tomorrow, 10 a.m.
The kid turns on his heels and stalks into the night. Strindler is the only person left standing in the room. Street, dusk, night. Strindler, unarmed and unhurried, walks via the wooden buildings of the American town and along the wall of a cantina in the Mexican quarter. The sounds of a guitar are heard. Strindler adjusts his cravat and steps inside. There are a few customers. A camarero pours drinks. A Mexican plays Spanish guitar. Strindler approaches the camarero. Tequila, please. You say it.
No hay tequila, solo mezcal.
Oh, well, mezcal. Thank you. He takes a drink, swallows it in one, requests another. Zamora? The camarero does not reply. He glances past Strindler and Primitivo Zamora, alone at a wood table in the corner of the bar, playing cards, carrying his second drink. Strindler approaches him. Join you?
This is a solitaire.
Strindler looks around the room, raises his glass to the guitar player, pulls out up a chair. Striddler starts to sit down. Zamora.
I didn't tell you don't sit down. Sit down. Looks like you got a job you won't go doing. I heard about you, the gringo that goes around making lists of people. Sounds like you got in trouble with the kid. The kid murdered my brother.
Condolences. You want to talk? The guitar player strums his instrument dramatically. Zamora beckons to the camarero to bring the bottle of mezcal. Next morning, a cock crows. The streets are empty. In the elite hotel bedroom, Crocker fits Striddler with a gun belt from the livery stable collection. He slips a silver 45 pistol into the holster. Borracho observes dubiously.
Mr. Striddler, you have done this before, right?
Not lately.
Well, listen up. You both got to stand back. You take 10 steps, you turn, draw your pistol, fire.
The hammer gets struck in the leather hip. Borracho sighs.
There's a railroad spur 10 miles distant. I can run you up there.
Look, Mr. Borracho's right, Striddler. If I was you...
Well, thank you both, but our work here isn't done. Borracho sighs again. Street morning. The street is deserted except for Striddler, Crocker, the sheriff, and the kid. Striddler and the kid stand back to back, guns in their belts.
You take the 10 steps, I count them. On the 10th step, turn and fire. Understood?
Yes.
Let's get to it.
Somewhere, clock chimes 10 o'clock. The sheriff steps back. Crocker does the same.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Striddler and the kid take the 10 steps. On the rooftop, iron sights over the shoulder looking down at the scene, roaming from Striddler to the kid to the sheriff.
5, 6, 7, 8.
The kid and Striddler continue their deadly walk. From a safe distance, the sheriff finishes the count.
9, 10.
The kid and Striddler turn. The kid's gun is already drawn and pointed straight at Striddler, but on the rooftop, Zamora aims a rough, muffled, long rifle and fires. Zamora's bullet hits the kid between the eyes. The kid's gun blasts wildly as he drops dead. With his eyes closed, Striddler shoots in the kid's direction. Zamora aims and fires a second time. Shot through the heart, the sheriff falls dead in the street. Bullhole, interior dead. The mayor faces a gathering of the great and good, including Oso, the widow, Crocker, and Nuria. Striddler sits to his right. The mayor pronounces his verdict.
And so it seems that after Mr. Striddler shot the kid in self-defense, in a fair duel initiated by the kid, the latter's gun went off in his expiring hand, and the stray bullet accidentally killed our sheriff. Any objections?
There are none.
Mr. Striddler is exonerated. Let's go get a drink.
Much noise and commotion from the saloon. The bodies of Sheriff Purdy and the kid lie on two benches in the middle of the road. They are dressed in white shrouds adorned with flowers and notes from well wishes. The undertaker finishes up the coffins in the shade of City Hall. The widow approaches. She strips off her veil and dark dress, revealing a cowgirl chanteuse who begins to sing.
As I walked out on the streets of Laredo, as I walked out in Laredo one day, I spied a young cowboy wrapped all in white linen, wrapped in white linen as cold as the clay.
I see by your outfit that you are a cowboy.
These words he did say as I boldly walked by.
Come sit down beside me and hear my sad story. I'm shot in the head, I know I must die. Go fetch me some water, a cool cup of water, quench my parched lips.
The poor cowboy said, before I could do it, his spirit had left him. Gone to his maker, the cowboy was dead. So be beat the drum slowly and play the fife lowly. Sing the death march as you carry him long. Take him to the valley, there lay the sod o'er him. He's a young cowboy and I know he done wrong.
The undertaker hammers the lid shut on the kid's coffin. The locals drink the health from the bar of the late sheriff. Strindler is at the bar. The mayor joins him.
Here's to the sheriff health. I'm taking up a collection for his wife. The poor woman is all alone in the world.
No, I'm sorry. Resources will.
Of course. Still plan on staying long?
Day or so more. Day or so more. Why?
Oh, no reason. I hear we can expect a visit from our federal prosecutor. Perhaps you'll have the opportunity to meet.
Oh, maybe we will. Chandler Ranch, exterior day. Borracho drives Strindler under the ranch's wooden sign. The sign proclaims the Big C Ranch. In the window, like the widow, Rose Chandler is dressed in mourning black. Her eyes are red, for she has been crying. She goes to the window, watches as the wagon approaches. Strindler is admitted to the ranch and sparsely furnished. For the home of such a rich man, all seems strangely neglected. On the wall hangs a massive painting of the Colonel's late wife, holding an hourglass with a skull at her feet. Adjacent is a smaller painting of Jesus on the cross, with burned-out candles beneath it. Unseen by him, Rose Chandler opens her bedroom door a crack and observes. Strindler addresses the painting of Jesus in a low voice, which Rose cannot hear. Hey, look here, old boy, give me a hand with this screen film, will you? I'm low on funds, you know how that is. Cheers. Welcome.
Mr. Go on, Pete. Why don't you be seated?
Well, thank you, sir. My name is Strindler. The Reverend Strindler. He looks around. There's only one usable chair. He sits on it. Chandler remains standing.
I rarely entertain guests here, Reverend.
Well, I expect your ranch keeps you busy.
To be quite frank, I see no point to it. People who drop by neglect their own business. Expect me to give their horses hay.
Oh, there's no need.
That's good, because there ain't any. My Mexicans are a lazy crew, half drunk most of the time, useless for work.
You employ 1,000.
Nowhere near that. Half of them run off, died, fever.
Okay. Colonel, I represent a religious charity honoring those poor, devout Mexicans who pass away for the good of their eternal souls.
Oh, total rubbish. What's the matter with you, man?
Well, need I remind you, Colonel, you've a painting of the Lord Jesus on your wall.
My daughter put that damn thing up there. My late wife, I don't recall. Superstitious nonsense. Don't hold with it.
Oh, I see. And how is your daughter, sir?
Taken to her bed. Refused to see anyone. Seems she was sweet on that young idiot who got his head shot off. It was you who killed him, didn't you?
Some snuff?
Never touch that filthy stuff.
No, indeed. I'm quite right, too. As to the kid, his demise was inevitable. There's so much lawlessness these days. Righteous persons like ourselves.
I don't hold with righteousness either. It's just a veil for bullshit and hypocrisy.
Okay. How many dead Mexicans you got?
Approximately 8. Why?
I'll give you 75 cents each for a list of their names and birthplaces.
75 cents? Really?
Well, yes, Colonel.
You know, there might be as many as 120.
Well, that'll be fine. My offer stands.
I must consult my foreman. Valdez! Hey, Valdez! Well, you have a deal, sir. Done deal. Yes, indeed. Valdez, ¿dónde estás?
Sí, jefe. ¿Qué pasó?
Trágame una lista de nuestros Mexicanos Muertos. Rápido.
Sí, jefe.
Chandler, excited, seizes Strindler's snuff box and takes an enormous hit. His face and mustache are covered with snuff. He starts fussing about the place.
Now, we must take a drink to celebrate. I'd offer you dinner, but ain't much to eat here.
No. The list will be sufficient.
Nonsense.
He closes the closet, roots about within it, and finds an old decanter covered with a thick layer of dust.
My late wife used to make this stuff, and we must enjoy a glass to celebrate.
Chandler finds a couple of old glasses, equally plastered with dust.
It got all full of bugs and shit over the years, but I fished out most of the rubbish, and now it's all nice and clean.
I feel like Strindler accepting a glass of the horrible stuff.
Cheers.
Cheers. Chandler Ranch. Borracho waits aboard the wagon. Strindler walks away from the ranch, clutching his briefcase. He staggers slightly. At the door, Rose Chandler watches Strindler go.
Who is that man?
No idea. He claims to be be a reverend.
And yet he killed the kids?
Good thing, too, that kid was a braggart and a lousy hand. At least this fella's got a decent shot, unlike most of the godfathers.
You didn't give him any of this stuff, did you?
Why not? It was good 10 years ago when your mother made it. 17 years ago. It's good today.
Canyon Road, Stridler vomits in the creek. Aboard the wagon, Borracho waits.
So, did you make good business, sir?
Stridler rises, clings to the side of the wagon.
Care for a shot?
Stridler accepts the flask and drinks. Feebly, he climbs aboard the wagon. They ride on. Borracho, tomorrow you must take me to the railroad station.
Sure. Then you done with me?
No, not at all. My good Borracho, after you leave me there, you must meet me in El Paso in 2 days' time. You know where that is?
Happens I do. But why? Why don't we go together?
Well, that's none of your concern, Borracho. Stop, please. Throws up again. Drags him back towards the cart. Day after tomorrow, El Paso, Texas, behind the customs house.
Wherever you say, General.
In the room, Stridler packs his carpet bag. His briefcase lies on the bed. His father's picture and his abacus have been put away. When his clothes are in the bag, he shuts it and breathes a sigh of relief. A knife appears, taps him gently on the throat.
Leaving town, amigo?
Oh, not yet.
Come, have a drink with me.
In the cantina, Zamora and Stridler face each other across the solitaire table. As before the guitar plays, Zamora pours them 2 shots of mezcal.
Before you go, you have to reach an understanding.
Stridler glances across the room at the guitar player and the camarero.
What's the matter? Don't you like music?
Stridler shakes his head. Zamora snaps his fingers. The guitar player and the camarero make themselves scarce. Now they're alone.
I have thinking. Seems to me the money that you gave me was a down payment, a prelude to our partnership. You bought a lot of that soul here, my people's sons. You spent a tiny sum. So there is money to be made.
Stridler produces his snuff box, offers Zamora a hit. Zamora shakes his head, produces 2 cigarillos, lights both, gives Stridler 1.
You're leaving town tomorrow, and the road is dangerous. Well, go together. I figured you're going where your money is, so both go. Share it 50-50, like amigos, or I kill you.
Resigned, Stridler nods. They toast and drain their glasses. Exterior cantina night. Stridler emerges from the cantina smoking. He takes a few steps, reaches into his jacket pocket and produces the 3 sticks of dynamite. He lights the fuses with his cigarillo. Somewhere the guitar begins again. Then he throws the dynamite through the cantina window and runs away. Behind him, the cantina explodes. Town graveyard, dawn. Stridler uproots all the Mexican crosses in the cemetery. He throws them in a pile, pours coal all on them, and sets them all on fire. He walks away. Hotel bedroom, morning. Stridler's bedroom door bursts open. A tall, well-dressed personage stands in the doorway. This is Samuel S. Vistov, the federal prosecutor from Tucson. Stridler is gone. At the railroad station, Stridler waits beside the tracks. A train whistles approaching. El Paso, Texas. The streets are crowded. This is a busy town. Stridler, carrying his carpet bag and briefcase, pauses before a 2-story brick building which bears the logo Customs House. He wears a priest's dog collar and a black shirt, walks up the steps and enters the building. In Johnny Behan's office, Stridler is seated at a big desk behind a map of the western United States. Behind the desk is a U.S. flag. An impressive secretary serves Stridler green tea from a handsome teapot. ¿Dónde es la secretaria? ¿Dónde está nuestra secretaria? Ya se fue. Tú dile.
Officer Behan will be with you in just a moment, Minister.
Well, thank you, my child. She exits. Stridler waits. He looks at a heavy bronze paperweight on the desk. It reads, John H. Bean, Chinese exclusion officer, and bears the seal of the state of Texas. A door opens. Strindler replaces it. Johnny Bean enters. He wears a finely tailored suit and a straw boater and wields a bicycle.
Well, sorry to keep you waiting, Reverend. Government work, you know.
He leans the bicycle against the wall and hangs the boater from a hat stand. Strindler rises. They shake hands.
Take a seat, Reverend. How may I assist?
Well, I sent you a letter.
Ah, you certainly did. Care for some green tea?
No, thank you. He opens a desk drawer, shifts through some papers, and produces a handwritten letter, puts on his spectacles.
Dear Miss Officer Behan, I have the honor of contacting you at the request of members of my church, the Fraternal Fellowship of Universal Brotherhood. Our fellowship dedicates itself to reforming former Catholics and inducing them to right their wrongs. As a result of my intervention, many Mexicans illegally present in Arizona territory have returned to their homes. I look forward to meeting you and presenting you with a written record of these Mexicans, whom I persuaded to depart the state in the pursuit of our government's worthy goals. Sincerely yours, the Reverend Strindler. And a little picture of a mestizo child. The motto, gladly my little cross I bear. Reverend, good work.
Here is a list of 750 Mexicans, including their birth dates and hometowns, whom I have brought to Jesus and sent home.
Commendable. But I am a Chinese exclusion officer. I don't deal in Mexicans.
Strindler produces his snuff box, takes a pinch, offers Johnny Bean's son. Bean accepts. So, what do they pay you for a Chinaman?
$10.15. That includes tracking them down and deporting them. The problem with Mexicans, as I'm sure you are aware, is that they don't appear on the census. This makes them difficult to exclude. And yet, in many ways, they're worse than the Chinese due to their habits of intermarriage. This increases the number of half-breeds who cause the disorder.
So, make an exception in this case?
How much you want for the list?
$7,000.
I'll give you $5,000.
Cash?
Well, it has to be sent via telegraphic transfer. That's how government work is done.
Strindler takes Bean's pen and writes a few words in his black notebook.
Union Bank, Lane, New Mexico. It'll take a couple days, Reverend.
Oh, I have every confidence in you, sir.
Oh.
Both men rise. Strindler pauses to study the bicycle.
I see you're admiring my machine. I ride it back and forth, escorting prisoners across the border, saving our government a substantial sum in crossing fees. It costs $1 or a gold peso to ride a horse over that bridge. A bicycle goes gratis.
They shake hands. The Yellow Rose Saloon. Strindler, still wearing his dog collar, sits at a table in the middle of the room watching the Can-Can show. He drinks whiskey and keenly observes the girls. Saloon later. Strindler toasts the tallest Can-Can girl with champagne. Two deputies step up behind him.
Strindler?
Jail cell. Strindler is thrown into jail. The barred door slams behind him. He staggers to his feet and hammers on it. What is the meaning of this outrage? Let me out. I am the Reverend Strindler. Strindler sits on his bunk. He is depressed. They throw him his briefcase. He opens it. Angle on the briefcase. His papers, father's picture, abacus, and notebook are gone. All that remains are 2 bars of soap, a Bible, and a snuff box. Strindler retrieves the box and takes a pinch. Later that night, Strindler dozes on the bench. A key turns in the lock. He waits immediately. A well-dressed personage enters. It is the federal prosecutor, Vistoff.
Swindler?
No, my name is Strindler, not Swindler. And you should know...
Be silent. I'm Samuel E. Vistoff, federal prosecutor from Tucson. You're in big trouble.
Oh, nonsense. I'm a man of God. Businessman.
Don't give me any of your bullshit, Swindler. You're a confidence man wanted in the Arizona territory for desecrating a cemetery, dynamiting a cantina, and forging a widow's will.
What the devil do you mean? I never forged a widow's will.
Well, sure you did. I mean to extradite you, put you on trial, get a conviction, and send you to the federal prison at Yuma unless...
Unless what?
Well... Unless my deputies went through your pockets and your bags. They didn't find a thing. You're down to your last couple of bucks. Yet back there in the territory, you threw money around like it was going out of style. Also, you engaged in a bunco scheme involving dead Mexicans. Am I right?
Why, I work for the U.S. Census. I've been compiling a list of deceased field workers mailed it to Washington, D.C. only yesterday to maintain...
Horse feathers. I don't know what your angle is, swindler, but I sense money in it. I'm prepared to make a deal.
What kind of deal?
You got dollars stashed someplace. Give me in for 95% and I'll let you walk free.
95%?
Sure. The widow who signed that false statement against you, I'll have her arrested and thrown in jail. All other complaints against you will be dismissed. The Mexicans whom you murdered and whose graves you defiled, they can swing in the wind. Yep, you can do that, yep.
You can do all this?
I'm a federal prosecutor. You're a city old man, swindler, unsuited to our modern times. But because I'm kind, I won't hold this against you. I'll see you back here in 1 hour. 1 hour, swindler. We'll go dig up that money and part as friends.
Strickler sits on the bench, brooding deeply. He takes another pinch of snuff, returns the box to his breast pocket. He hears someone approach at the rattle of keys. He fears it is the federal prosecutor, but it is Rose Chandler. She looks more resolute than ever, clad in a pure white dress. Strickler grabs the Bible and pretends to read it. As she unlocks the cell door, she enters the cell.
Reverend Strickler,
Oh, Miss Chandler.
I must speak with you most urgently.
Well,
Reverend, you stand accused of dreadful deeds.
yeah, I know, but I can explain.
5 days ago, you fought a wicked duel with a young man who I esteemed. He died as a result, killing our sheriff in the process.
Yeah. But you see,
The next day, it is said that you defiled the cemetery, murdered several Mexicans, and forged a widow's will.
I never forged a widow's will, and I can...
Reverend, I did not journey all this distance simply to dispute with you. You are accused of heinous crimes, and yet, based on your brief acquaintance, I believe that there is good in you. I have come to hear your story.
My benefactress!
I am most serious, Reverend. If I am to assist you, you must tell the truth. Who are you? Why have you done these things?
Oh, benefactress! I was tempted by Satan, the deceiver. I know nothing of pistols, derringers, or murderings, I swear.
Speak the truth, Strickler. What has brought you to this sorry pass?
You genuinely care to hear?
Yes, I do. Calm yourself. Reflect on how to make peace with God and give some thought to your poor soul.
Very well, benefactress. You alone shall hear Strickler's tale. The lad, I resembled neither my mother nor my father. From the beginning, life gazed on me in a dour and welcoming way. There was no friend, no playmate from my childhood. My father taught me the eternal maxims, not to be caught in a lie, to show obedience to my elders, to nurture the appearance of virtue. We see in a flashback of sleigh approaching an orphanage through the snow. Young Strickler, a lad of 7 or 8, descends. His father remains in the sled, pointing towards the orphanage gate. At parting, no tear fell from paternal eyes. A handful of coins end up in Strickler's hands.
See that you know your lessons, Linda. Don't be naughty and stay out of mischief. Above all, try to please your teachers and superiors.
Well, I will, Papa.
Shut up and listen. Don't get too close to your schoolmates. Only make friends with those who are better off. They can be of use to you. And on no account, ever part with a red sect. Your friends will let you down, but money never will.
Oh, yes, Papa.
Fighters! You can do anything. Overcome anything in this world with money, lad.
Father tosses young Strickler's bags into the deepening snow. Oh, Papa, may I not stay with you, Mama, and Uncle Sancho?
Sinful, stupid Strickler. Wicked boy. Be gone.
Strindler's father jerks the reins and slides away. Young Strindler picks up his briefcase and carpet bag. The boy trudges through the snow towards the iron doors of the orphanage. Dissolves a jail cell. Strindler wakes up in darkness. He's lying on his back. Rose has gone. His briefcase lies on his chest. The cell key is on top of it. He rises, puts the key in the lock, and steps through the door into a fluorescently lit corridor. He pauses, blinking at the unnatural light. An electronically projected voice is heard.
Turn right, Strindler. Now go left. And to the right again. Come on in.
Office interior. There are no windows, just a desk and a map of the world. Two people in uniform sit behind the desk, smoking. Colonels X and Y. They look familiar, but Strindler cannot place them. He pulls back a chair.
We are engaged in a highly sensitive project.
Tallying the totals of the debt.
You have some expertise here, do you not?
Well, to some extent.
1844. List of dead deceased serfs in Kiev and Rus, delivered to the peerage ministry. 1890. A record of dead Mexicans in the Arizona Territory prepared for the exclusion officer in Texas. 1929. Nicaraguan insurgents killed by the Marine Corps. A comprehensive tally. 1945. Strindler's List. Impressive. You're good at this.
I do my best.
Our country needs an accurate estimate of enemy losses in the 3 wars we are currently fighting. How many Russians have we killed today? How many Chinese? How many Peruvians?
And how did they die? Via ordnance? Partisan activity? Are bioweapons tailored to their genetic provenance?
You want this to be accurate?
Of course! Accurate figures that demonstrate best practice in our part. How we're killing many more of the enemy than we originally estimated.
Backed up by solid data, naturally.
We envision this as an AI-centric project.
So you'll have every support you need to reach the necessary conclusions.
What's the pay?
$10.15 for every Russian. $10.06 for China.
And for Peruvians, we'll throw in 0.0000512 Bitcoin. You'll need to set up a hardware wallet, of course.
I'll need to think this over.
Don't think too long.
But I'll need to.
Don't.
The Colonel's become all wavy as in a dream sequence. Strindler does the same. Suddenly, Strindler wakes up with daylight on his face. He's in jail again and Rose is gone. He's lying on his back. His briefcase sits on his chest. The cell key is on top of it. He grabs the key. Behind the jail door, Strindler comes hurtling down the staircase at the side of the building. Borracho awaits him there aboard the wagon. Borracho, I told you to meet me behind the customs house.
This is the custom house. Also the jail. How'd you get out?
Well, it's a long story. Shall we? Borracho fixed the reins and they turn into the main streets of El Paso in the morning.
Which way is it, Captain?
West, then north.
Reverend Strindler, hold up!
Oh, behind Johnny are 3 Chinese prisoners in chains, followed by a shotgun-toting deputy.
Morning, Reverend. And you're up and about early.
Well, you know how it is, Mr. Bean. The Lord waits for no man.
Well, I just want to let you know, all those Mexicans of yours have been lit out, like you said. I telegraphed that money to your church in Rainy. It'll be waiting for you when you arrive.
Well, that's just fine, Mr. Bean. My congregation was much obliged.
Had to deduct a small percentage, cost of the cable. You don't mind, do you?
Oh, no, sir, not at all.
Safe travels, Reverend. Do I know you?
Oh, this man is Deacon Barr. He's one of my most devout parishioners.
Well, pleased to meet you, Deacon. Well, if you'll excuse me, I've got Chinamen to deport. You're a man of the future, Strindler. My door is always open to you.
Sure, your door's open, Johnny Behan. That bastard used to be the governor of Yuma Jail. what in the hell's he up to now?
Government work, Deacon. Avance.
West as far as Roswell, then north to Laming.
Sounds about right. Border Bridge, morning. The bridge bears a sign reading, Bienvenidos a Juárez, Mexico. Johnny pedals over the bridge, dismounts, and hands his prisoners over to the Mexican authorities.
This one's a cook. The others, I reckon they'll be good for laundry work.
Muy bien, mi oficial. Toma para unos refrescos.
Money changes hands. Johnny swings the bicycle around. In the distance, he has a last glimpse of the departing wagon. Johnny waves to Strindler. Strindler waves back. Federal Prosecutor's Office. Morning. Rose is interviewed by the federal prosecutor, Vistov.
And you've no idea how he acquired the key?
None, Mr. Prosecutor. I dressed him via the prison bars.
And where do you think he went?
Mexico. Yes, surely Strindler is down prison.
The prosecutor strokes his mustache. Outside the window, Johnny Bean is seen carrying his bicycle. The prosecutor waves to Bean. Bean waves back.
Thank you, ma'am. You've been of considerable assistance.
Quemada Canyon Day. A wide-angle view of the great cactus-populated landscape. In the distance, Borracho drives his wagon down a dusty trail. On the Quemado Trail, Borracho and Strindler head west on the long road to Roswell.
I had an awful dream last night. I was in this big city, Denver or Black Hawk maybe, and there were these mansions rising up high. And yet, wherever I looked, there were poor people sleeping on the street, living in tents. And the worst thing of it was, it wasn't just Denver. The whole planet was like that.
Oh, you have suffered what the French call a cauchemar, Borracho, a fevered dream. Such things will never come about.
I sure hope you're right, Professor.
And the prosecutor follows them through the desert as they ride onward. Strindler takes out a hit of snuff, offers one to Borracho.
No, thank you kindly, Reverend. To each his own vices.
Borracho produces his flask and takes a drink. They ride on. The federal prosecutor follows them, reining up on higher ground. He dismounts and unshoulders a gun. It's a long gun, very similar to Zamora's. He attaches the iron sights. Below him, Strindler and Borracho journey on. Borracho takes another drink and starts to sing.
Oh, the yellow rose of Texas and the man from Laramie invited Davy Crockett to have a cup of tea. The tea was so delicious, they had another cup and left poor Davy Crockett to do the washing up.
Did you invent that song yourself, Borracho?
Indeed I did, Reverend. Would you like to hear it again?
Well, absolutely.
Oh, the yellow rose of Texas.
And sadly, the iron sights focus on Borracho. The prosecutor aims, his fingers tighten on the trigger.
Oh, the tea was so delicious, they had a... Oh!
A bullet strikes him, shot through the heart. He tumbles from the wagon. The prosecutor shifts his aim and fires again. Boom! Strindler is hit too and slumps back in the wagon bed. The horse walks on for a few paces and comes to a halt. The prosecutor rides down the hill towards the wagon where the two men are lying. He kicks the body of Borracho. Nothing moves.
Good and dead. Now, Mr. Swindler, let's see if you've got your MacBook buddy.
He reaches for Strindler's jacket. Hang on, Strindler, leaping up, drawing a two-barrel Derringer pistol from his sleeve. He shoots the prosecutor in the chest. The prosecutor falls to the ground, groaning. Strindler jumps down, aims his gun again and pulls the trigger. Click! The Derringer has misfired. The prosecutor, lying on his back, reaches painfully his revolver. Strindler, terrified, looks around for a weapon. Angled on a large rock, he hits the prosecutor with the rock. Smashes his head. Strindler stands over the dead prosecutor. He feels his own chest, reaches into his breast pocket, and extracts his snuff box. It is attached to the Bible by the prosecutor's bullet, lodged in the metal box. Strindler struggles to extract the bullet, but it is struck fast. He pries open the lid, takes a pinch of snuff, and pockets the box. You idiot. I am no swindler. I am Strindler. I am Strindler. I am Strindler! Esto es nuestra película que vamos a empezar mañana. Gracias.